The only way you're going to get it, of course, is that if everybody bands together and they do it together in order to affect change. But individuals that go through that, you may have a very, very compelling case by law. But if the judge doesn't recognize it, well, then what do you got? You're screwed. And that's it. Unless you can band together and have enough people go through and say, to hell with you, judge, and to hell with you, system, we're going to start a new system, then you're just absolutely kind of at a loss. Because even if the law says, hey, you can't pay a debt with an IOU, and if the judge says, yeah, you can, then you're kind of screwed. I mean, at least that's my take. What do you think, Margot?
Well, I know a lot of judges through, various networking crap that us attorneys regularly have to swallow and endure and go to. And I can tell you that, they can sit there and blow smoke up somebody's butt all day about why they're a judge and how much they love this country and how much they respect the Constitution and all that mumbo-jumbo. But at the end of the day, they are only out for one thing and one thing only, and that is their reputation, their prestige, and their social status. And they will not do anything to jeopardize those things. And I can give you an example. There was one federal judge, his name was Judge Fox, and he actually found in favor of a tax protester under the theory that the 16th Amendment was never properly ratified. As soon as Judge Fox did that, he was ridiculed so hard by his peers in the federal circuit that he's no longer a judge. And that's a really rare thing for a federal judge because they're basically appointed for life. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, judges are very much like sheep, just like the majority of the American population, except they just really will not do what is right or what is necessary because they have a reputation to uphold. And so anything that is outside the normal boundary of what we are taught in law school and in the profession is acceptable will not be tolerated by most judges, no matter how cogent the argument is.
Well, I'm right there with you. I understand exactly what you're talking about. And if you don't play by the rules, then you're kicked out of the club, I guess you could say. No more club for you.
And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's been a breakdown of the rule of law in this country. It's like you said, the law applies to some people but not to everybody. Mm-hmm. And really, you can figure out who the law applies to by how far up the political totem pole you are.
Right.
The closer to the top of the political totem pole, the less the laws are going to apply to you. The lower down on the totem pole you are, the more the laws are going to apply to you. And so that really kind of makes the law a joke because there's no predictability in its application. There's no uniformity in its application. And pretty soon, people are going to start to realize that this system of justice is not justice at all. It's some sort of strange banana republic perversion of justice. And people aren't going to take it for very much longer, I don't believe.
No, I totally agree. Now, Gwen and Margot, just hold on one second. I'm going to bring Angela from Louisiana. You're live on the show. Go ahead. Sorry to keep you waiting, Angela.
Oh, no problem. Hey, guys. I had a question for Griff.
Sure.
I have a friend, and her question is, she's not able to buy food because her family doesn't allow it. Her husband doesn't because he doesn't believe any of this. So she wants to know, with the cash that she has, would she be better off buying silver, precious metals, or paying off credit cards?
Buy food.
But he won't let her, so
do it anyway.
She doesn't. I know, but if she can't.
No, it's too late. It's too late, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense to buy precious metal if you don't have abundant money. And I have serious doubts whether or not that's going to help you in the future. If you can't buy food, you can have truckloads of gold and silver, and it won't help you.
Can you buy firearms?
If you pay off debt, I think it would be good to continue on with the debt. Let's see if and when it collapses, you'll be out from under that, which leaves you lack of food. You need food because food supplies will stop.
Exactly.
Right. I told her that, and she knows that. But
yeah, that's the number one thing.
But again,
we didn't know if by having the silver, if there was a transition period between a new currency or a total collapse, that she could buy the new currency with it. That was what the question, really, I guess.
No, I believe an effort is going to be made, and I don't have any clue how it's going to work or how they're planning on putting it in. But I think this is the golden opportunity coming up to put in install the debit monetary system for scanning, no cash.
Right.
They have everything in place except the chip. Everything about that system is in place all over the world. All products are marked. Everything is in. They've been working on it over 40 years. Now all they have to do is put the number on the person, on the back of the hand for scanning at the POS terminals. All of the computers are set up. Everything's set up. So I don't know that they'll have an alternative monetary system or paper system, that is. I think they're going, but who knows? I think so much devastation is coming that they are liable to lose control of the system.
Yeah, exactly. Whether or not we know the extent. I mean, nobody knows the extent of what's going to happen or what's going to come. But I can tell you this: that life as we know it, as we've seen it in the last 2 or 3 generations, it cannot continue to sustain itself. Some large course correction has to take place. And that's where we're at now. And that's why I say, even if they can't buy food, if they feel like going and buying a box of ammo or something like that, at the very least, if a monetary system or structure breaks down, A, if they have a gun, they can defend themselves with it, but B, more than likely you'll be able to barter with it as well, because everybody will need ammo. And you can go to any store, any Walmart or whatever, and get a box of ammo and have it.
Okay.
In addition to all of that, you're going to have a certain mindset. Most people that I run into don't have the mindset. Some think they do, but they really don't. Not from my perspective. You have to know how to improvise. You have to know how to sense things coming at you. You have to have the wisdom to evaluate fast. You have to improvise generators and batteries and light bulbs and heating devices and stoves, and you have to know how to make it work under field conditions or real adverse conditions when your house is not powered. What do you do when people storm the neighborhood trying to take your food away from you? What do you do in a cold climate when it's 0 degrees outside and you don't have electricity? How do you heat your house? Well, people are not planning for that. They're giving it lip service, but no one is planning for it. They haven't really thought it out because most people really don't believe it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen.
No, that's a fact. Anything else you'd like to ask, Angela?
No, that was fine. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you,
no
Angela.
problem. Thank you for the call. Hey, Gwen, you said something in the chat room, and I want to put this on so people in the YouTube archive and the archive here at Blog Talk can hear as well. But Obama kind of did us a favor, didn't he?
Well, I think the only thing good that I've seen out of his administration is people prepping, people growing food, people buying guns, people buying ammo. It woke us up to a degree that I don't think we've seen since the Vietnam War.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are an incredible number of people that now do their own gardening. There are a tremendous amount of new firearms that were bought and sold since he took office. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. There are more people that are able to weather a storm, I guess you could say, or at least start on the road to understanding what it would take. But are there enough people out there? I mean, do people really know how to survive using some of the skills that have been lost, i.e., like John King, the canning king? He cans everything, that guy. And it used to be common practice that, you'd grow a garden in the summer and you'd can and you'd have vegetables all winter. You didn't rely on the supermarkets to do that. And that's kind of fell out of place because we're a culture of convenience. Isn't that right, John?
That is exactly correct. And for those of you out there that foolishly enough think to yourself, especially in the urban areas, that you're just going to run out into the ignorant backwoods of the United States and come across us bunch of ignorant hillbilly hicks and turn one over on us, you got another thing coming. You see, you may be able to run to the mountains in those Levi's or the Lees or Gap or whatever it is that covers your rear end is going to last you for a short while. But eventually, if this proceeds and it prolongs, those Levi's are going to be very holey and ragged. And you're not going to be able to go to your Walmart or your Sears or JCPenney or any other store to go put clothes on yourself. So you're going to have to learn how to make your own, either out of the garment from a trading post, or you're going to have to learn how to do it the old-fashioned way, like the settlers did it and like the Indians did it, by tanning the hide. And I, for one, Joe, know how to tan a hide naturally and use the primitive method to correctly be able to preserve the hide, to make pants to put on my rear end, a shirt to put over my torso, and boots to put over my feet.
Well, that's good, man.
Not too many people can do that these days, and they need to go on things such as YouTube and type in primitive tanning methods and learn how to do it.
John, I actually have a question for you. What makes you think that tomorrow is the turning point?
What a good question. What do you think, John?
With everything that is taking place over in the Middle East now, and yeah, Griff, okay, the CIA and all the other alphabet agencies might be behind the scenes controlling things, but the contagion is the word freedom, and that is what's going to spread. Now, tomorrow when the government opens for business again, and they hear that Algeria and Yemen and Italy are starting to go off, the government is not going to be able to condemn these things. They're going to have to sit back. And we're at a point of no return. There's no going back. All these little puppet dictatorships that are now being deposed in the Middle East and all over the world are going to start popping up. And the United States isn't going to be able to do anything about it. There's no going back. Freedom is starting to ring, at least on the surface, around the globe. And the United States' hands are tied, and all the puppet dictators that are in office right now because of our corrupt government are very soon going to fall.
But John, we need dictators, though.
We got one. He's in Washington.
Well, the United States has benefited from dictators far back as I remember. I don't know that we can be the United States of America without dictators.
There you go, Griff.
Well,
you just said it yourself. We can't be the United States. We can't be the United States of America without dictators. You're absolutely right. And the problem is when all these little puppet dictators fall that have been doing this kind of stuff and backroom deals with the United States, it's just going to be one more blow that the United States probably isn't going to be able to absorb this time.
The wild card is Obama with his Muslim allegiance, bringing the United States down and encouraging these things and setting up situations that'll come against Israel and spread the Muslim mindset. He's doing that, and the tree huggers out there in the square have no clue they're being used.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well, stay tuned, folks, because when we come back, we will have the King's Court. And we'll continue our conversation with Gwen and Margot when we come back. This is Freedomlink Radio on the Intel Hub News Network.